originally heard about the Weiss Tech House just sort of around engineering, sort of saw signs for it, things like that.
Funny enough, I had heard about the Weiss Tech House before I even got to Penn.
I looked at the website and all the different things that students can do, and I thought, wow, this sounds really cool.
It was one of the first things that I knew I wanted to do when I came to campus.
I went to the Weiss Tech House open house early on freshman year, and that's actually what drew me in.
And it just looked really appealing to me because it said that it was a cohort of other companies that were undergrads or MBAs on campus, and I thought that would be a really cool environment to kind of learn alongside other people.
We came in just as we were getting started, and it was a great space to be in. Like a very friendly, private place where we could put together a team and meet.
The Weiss Tech House was probably my greatest experience in learning how the real world works.
I just don't think there's really any other communities where there's just this many people qualified to speak, particularly about tech, business, so many other things. I just can't think of any other real schools where there's a business and tech program of this size.
We turned it from just us messing around into like a real genuine effort to create something.
The Weiss Tech House has a history of funding companies, coming up with solutions that make a difference in how people lead their lives.
So the Weiss Tech House is an environment for students to come together around innovation and technology.
We are the leading seed resource to the entrepreneurial and innovation ecosystem at Penn, in that we most often provide the early money, the early resources for student teams who then go on to find other competition, other resources around the university, and ultimately do great things.
So the Weiss Tech House provides space, money, mentoring, and educational programming to help student entrepreneurs in their startup process.
So the thing about the Weiss Tech House is the students. The biggest thing is about the Weiss Tech House is the students' excitement for entrepreneurship. Some of the ideas they come up are just amazing. And then the dedication they have to actually getting these ideas forward, moving them forward, and all those types of things are really exciting.
We also provide an area for student leadership. So students come here, they join us, and they can grow as leaders because they're given the ability to shape the mission of the Tech House within their committee. So their committee, if it's an existing committee, may already have a mission, but how it is executed changes each year based on the leadership of that committee. So we have Penvention, which is our student inventors competition.
So Penvention is a technology entrepreneurship competition that spans the entire second semester. The focus of the competition is taking teams from a 5-slide pitch deck in the beginning to a live pitch in front of a panel of judges in the end.
And the top prize of that is $5,000.
Throughout the way, we have mentorship sessions that are both direct connections between teams and mentors, so we try to pair off every team with a mentor that has some kind of experience in their field. And then we also have general mentorship events and sessions where all the teams are invited to hear somebody speak.
We also have the Innovation Fund that provides funding to the teams.
The Innovation Fund is a student-run committee on Penn's campus out of the Weiss Tech House, and we give non-dilutive equity funding to student-run startups on campus. We're often the first money that goes into those companies. We give anywhere from a couple $100 all the way up to $2,000 each semester. We don't ask for equity or ownership of the company. It's essentially free money, but we run it as an investment process. So we have a team of project managers who will meet with entrepreneurs, analyze businesses, bring them into pitch, and we will decide to fund them or not, but funding them is just essentially giving them money to help them start their ventures.
We launched Weiss Labs fall of 16, which is our incubator. So student teams apply to that. They come in, they're given space and a cohort for a semester at a time or over the summer, and they're given a lot of mentoring.
We have 3 committees. The first one is mentorship, which essentially meets with the companies, the startups that are in our accelerator on a weekly basis, asks them what their needs are, finding them resources, connecting them with people who can help them. And then we have marketing, which does our physical marketing materials, our website, and sponsorships. And then we have logistics, which books speakers, coordinates demo day, and make sure that everything runs smoothly.
You come into something like Weiss Labs as a freshman, and You learn how to plan an event. You learn how to look at which companies are the best, sourcing companies. You learn how to work on a team, and all of those things together help to build the soft skills that you don't get in the classroom.
We have a pretty intensive application just so we want to know where people are in their venture, and the more they're able to talk about it in specific ways that, you know, it's kind of standard industry process, the better we can understand where they are, how far along they are, and that helps us create a diverse cohort. And there's an interview process, but we also do a lot of outreach through networking, getting people to know about it, things like that.
We also have various events at the Tech House to bring students together. Some people may not have an idea, so we provide events that kind of get their foot into the water. One of the highlight events that we do is our elevator pitch that usually takes place February. And that's a really exciting time because students are just given about 2 minutes to pitch.
The short pitch structure was great because it's really a forcing function for how people are going to be marketed things generally.
Minimalism is really, really hard.
We had to be very clear and direct about what it is, why it's valuable, and really what kind of value we'll be creating for people.
I think if you watch my pitch, you can actually see me trying to mentally edit out parts that I'm so used to doing.
About 15 startups at Penn came to pitch their ideas, and that was really interesting just because we got to see some of the best ventures currently at the school.
In front of a live audience and judges.
It was actually pretty cool. We got judges who are partners at some pretty large VC funds to come in and then listen to the pitches, give feedback, and judge. So a lot of these places we've had partnerships with in the past. So they'll contribute money and then also come and judge.
Very selfishly, I think we like being involved because we get a very early look at some great startups that would be great investments for us.
I love coming to Penn and hearing these pitches. I think sometimes the people doing the pitches are a little tenuous about if their product really works, and they're kind of concerned about talking to people, but their ideas are really good. They might need a little bit of fleshing out or a little bit of talking to some people who've been in the business world for a while, but there are so many terrific ideas coming from young folks that we are just supercharged about it.
The essence, I think, of the Weiss Tech House is to be able to nurture students, groups of students, so that even if they're not ready to start their own company, they're what I would call ready to join. They have the skills and the experience and some sort of background that makes it very easy for them to join innovative companies.
So the highlight has always been interacting with students, seeing the excitement of not only we have student directors, so the leadership students, but also the students who are starting the teams, getting involved in the workshop, doing building hardware and prototypes. It's always very, very exciting to see the types of ideas that people come up with.
So the student director is pretty much the liaison between the faculty and the student committee chairs. So we're kind of there to help maintain organizational flow and basically direct the broader vision of the Weiss Tech House.
Yeah, so I think being student director of the Weiss Tech House, a lot of it is really having a vision of where you want this organization to be within that year of your role. And you're looking at a lot of more the big picture goals of what you want to accomplish and what you kind of what direction you want your committees to go into.
The student directorship oversees the entire array of all the different organizations within the Tech House. So Convention, Innovation Fund, Weiss Labs, Pivot, all of those. We make sure the committee heads are kind of on top of things, progressing, and if they need any help, we'll supply that help, give them ideas, as well as try to make sure that we have a cohesive brand and that we're getting our name out within the giant Penn community in general.
It's really up to you to make sure that things run smoothly, that events aren't planned on the same day with each other, there's no conflicts between committees, and to be able to logistically and structurally plan that out. I think it's a huge responsibility to student directors.
So for us, a lot of the big stuff happens at the very beginning. We handle a lot of the recruitment, which is a huge part of being the Weiss Tech House. We want to make sure that a lot of students know what we're doing and know how to get involved. Throughout the rest of the semester, we hold meetings with the chairs just to make sure that everyone kind of knows what's going on within the Weiss Tech House, even on other committees, and just sort of facilitating that conversation.
And I think lastly, I really do think some essence of culture is driven top down, and I think you have the opportunity to create what type of culture you would want the entire organization to have.
At the beginning of January, we'll open up submissions for anyone that has some sort of tech innovation.
They submit a pitch deck, they submit a video, and it culminates in this Shark Tank-esque event where they're demoing to judges.
We gather the judges, we gather mentors, and we start from about a group of 25 semifinalists down to a final 8, where they then pitch to a panel of live judges.
Each team, we spend the time to go through what their project is and understand what they might need in terms of expertise.
You're not just taking their applications and then submitting them to judges. You're really trying to understand what their product is, how best you can help them.
What really differentiates Penvention is that it's not just a competition. There's this focus on mentorship.
It was cool because you sort of apply, but there's also this whole sort of process that you go through. So for example, it's like a semifinalist, you meet with sort of different mentors and other people that they bring in, which is actually really cool.
What we try to do is get a mix of people from academia, people from industry, and then former startup team members or winners of our competition. So that's really the goal. We try to get a mix.
Because you get tons of sort of different opinions on your idea, your pitch, things like that.
A lot of teams don't quite know how to pitch live because most competitions don't force you to pitch live. So we bring somebody in to speak about that as well.
Yeah, pitching live in front of a crowd is definitely different, and it's something that sort of you can't practice for. But for us, it was really fun. That was the day that we sort of did the first ever live demo of our technology.
I really think that what we do for these teams is really give them resources and try to arm them with as much as possible. And I think that that's a benefit of the Tech House as well. The Weiss Tech House has a lot of resources and a lot of different people that are trying to help startups and help people succeed.
We ended up getting second place in that competition, and that was sort of one of the, I'd say, pivotal moments of sort of really taking our company from, an idea into an actual company.
So in order to apply to the Innovation Fund, you have to have one founding team member who's still a student at UPenn. It could be undergrad or graduate school across any of the different colleges. Sam Burns, who's the co-chair with me, we head up this group of student kind of project managers who are sourcing or finding investment opportunities or interesting companies started by peers on campus. And so the day-to-day is really just meeting with, having coffee, going to pitch days, things like that, just trying to understand entrepreneurs who are still in school at Penn and what they're building and if we can be helpful in any way, shape, or form.
So we participated in the Innovation Fund twice. We'd heard about it on campus and knew that there were some good companies in it. A mutual friend introduced us to Jason Shine.
Jason was someone I met through, actually, as I was exiting Weiss Labs, we kind of have our demo day, and Jason attended there, saw me present, thought the Innovation Fund would be a good fit.
You're paired up with a particular person on the committee for the Innovation Fund, and you meet with them a few times and sort of go over your pitch, and then from there you sort of just go in for the pitch. There's maybe 8-10 people.
To be honest, that was the first time I'd ever pitched anything in my life. The pitch was fine. It's just a group of students, not really any different than giving a presentation in class.
The great thing about it is it's pretty quick. They follow up with you, almost immediately, and basically say, hey, this is great, hey, this isn't.
And he's ended up working with us pretty closely, just in terms of helping us find people, make introductions.
Jason's actually a really good resource when it just comes to meeting people. So he put us in touch with inventors, and even today with an associate at Box Group. And even though we're not actively fundraising now, it's just being able to get feedback from these people and Jason himself when you need it. It's nice.
There's definitely a big difference between pitching, for a full room of people and pitching for a select few people. I would say pitching for a small room of, competent people like the Innovation Fund panel, honestly might be a little bit more difficult because, you know that they're sort of going to pick your pitch apart, for what the content?
The beauty of the Innovation Fund is that we are currently 8 students who have diverse backgrounds related to technology. We have mechanical engineers, material science specialists, people who have worked in venture capital before. We have software developers. And so the wide range of angles and perspectives that we bring is really important.
I think the difference between the Innovation Fund and even sort of some of the other sources of money on Penn's campus are these are technical people. The Weiss Tech House is sort of a melding of engineering and business.
Of all our funding sources, the Weiss Tech Fund was the one that most focused on actually product development and really getting us to a prototype and nailing down the underlying science and technology, as compared to others which were more focused on marketing and business development.
Our mission is really to help support student entrepreneurship, and whether that's just from the back of a napkin idea to something that's already raised a couple $1,000s in real funding. We help student entrepreneurs across that range.
So Weiss Labs is actually the brainchild of Guthrie Ginsler and Ernest Travis. I don't know how to say his last name. Sorry, Ernest.
So I was originally the co-chair of Pinvention. This is back during my junior year, so it's about 2 years ago now. And I saw a big problem in some of the applicants that we had. A lot of the applicants either had a technology, but they didn't really know what to do with it. And they were submitting things, but they didn't even make it past the first round because they never really got to leverage the resources of the Weiss Tech House. And a lot of the people that ended up winning the competition didn't continue with their idea because they just saw it as a competition, and that's it. So I noticed this problem and decided to create something new that was targeted at cultivating entrepreneurship, which is the goal of the Weiss Tech House in the first place.
He and Ernest just went around recruiting people, finding people, and pulled together a really great team of people.
That's where Weiss Labs was born. It was out of this idea that people might have the technology, but they might not know how to create a company out of it. Or people have been able to create a company, but they kind of get stuck and they don't know where to go after that. We noticed when looking around the university that there is a lot of money there. If a company wants to get money, if an entrepreneur is interested in getting money, there are a ton of resources. But there weren't a lot of resources that teach you how to continue to get money. We decided instead of giving a man a fish, we would teach a man how to fish. We decided to create this entity that would take people who have the technology, have the fundamental idea, and teach them how to pitch by bringing in entrepreneurs. Give them a space that they could work in, come in and take a phone call if they need to do that at any time during the day. The room that we're sitting in right now is actually Weiss Labs. This was just a closet when we first decided to start this thing. And now we've turned it into a full entrepreneurial space for startups.
It's just nice to be in a space that is tech-centric and has the energy of a place, people that are really excited about building the future with technology.
Give them access to entrepreneurs who could give them advice on how to run their businesses.
I think per minute you're always just going to learn more from people that are that have done it before and have been there. And that's just a very intangible but incredibly valuable part of the program.
And also create a sense of community.
Weiss Labs was really keen on making it a weekly thing and just kind of checking in on you, and I think the benefit of that is that it really checks to make sure you're working and you're not just slacking off, because sometimes when you're the founder of a small business and you're the only person to motivate yourself, it can cause some lulls in productivity.
It's really hard to commit to doing something full-time for reals when there's no boss to check in on you, no place to really report to every day. So having a fixed location that you really make your space and other people holding you accountable is exactly what every young company needs.
When you're an entrepreneur, you don't want to innovate in a hole. So what we tried to do was help you dig out of that hole by constantly talking to people who are going through the same struggles as yourself and figure out what you should be working on.
If I stand up one week and I say I'm going to do something, I don't want to return the next week and not have done it.
A lot of a carrot and stick. So someone to harass you if you didn't show up, but also a really comfortable work environment for when you did.
where Weiss Labs' position is to take you from, all right, yes, you've got a good idea, you've kind of tested your assumptions in the market, you've talked about it a lot, and you've started to build things, but now let's actually make it real. Let's get it out there.
The best thing about Weiss Labs is just it's a community of people with like-minded interests and who kind of really get what you're going through. So that was the best part about it.
And this is all leading up to Demo Day, which is a public event where the entire community is invited, the Penn community, and we have a panel of judges who do a similar thing. They're also giving feedback.
It was really helpful. It was the first time I was able to stand up in front of the crowd and give my pitch from start to finish, and I got really positive feedback, so it was really helpful for me, and it really motivated me to keep going.
So our mission statement is to catalyze innovation throughout the Penn entrepreneurial community. I think honestly Weiss Labs is the place to do it because we do real work. We give the people who are new real work to do, and it's just great practical skills. It gives you experiences to talk about on your resume, but also gives you experiences of interacting with people who are passionate about tech and entrepreneurship in the way that you are, in the way that other committees don't.
So I think one of the major advantages that the Weiss Tech House has is it is largely run by student volunteers. They are hugely dedicated and, as with all Penn students, very bright. And when they dedicate their time, they dedicate it wholeheartedly.
From the Weiss Tech House Innovation Fund to the Weiss Labs, you've got students that are making the investment decisions in the former case, students that are choosing the companies to be in the accelerator for Weiss Labs and operating all aspects of it.
They have the pulse, they have the thumb on the pulse of the student entrepreneurship community. So if they come to me and say we should look at doing something like this, we give it a try, and if it's successful, we then make it a larger program or committee if necessary.
So nobody knows what's good for students better than students. I think that is always been a thing. I mean, that's part of our democratic society, that the people know what's best. And that's something that's fundamental to the Weiss Tech House.
When I talk to the leadership of Weiss Labs, I know I'm talking to a peer. I know I'm talking to someone who knows where I'm coming from. Had a really rough BEP exam last night, and they know exactly what that means.
And then also, students who have multiple things that they're doing at the same time. They can't focus all of their attention on one aspect. They have studies, they have classes, they have other things going on in their lives, and so doing all that balance is sometimes tricky to handle.
A student has only so much time in a day, and they have education, they have their classes, they have projects they've got to do in order to get their degree.
It's a great challenge at times to get a student to realize, okay, finish your classes. We don't want you to drop out. I'm not an investor that actually likes to see people drop out of college.
Go and drop out of school and just run this full-time as a business.
There are others that obviously do.
Ultimately, the advice that I tend to give students is you need to stick around. You need to finish up your degree, if only for the fact that a place like Penn offers so many resources.
I always look at the university as a tremendous just pool of resources, but we can't teach ambition, we can't teach drive.
At the end of the day, it's students who are the ones who are running all of the committees, are selecting who should be the people on the committees, and are planning events, selecting companies to be part of the Weiss Tech House, and stimulating entrepreneurship.
It's powerful to think that there are students that are spending their time, trying to help other students be founders. It's really, I think, just a gift to give to the university that those people are spending as much time as they are, creating programming, getting people together, following up with things. It's entirely voluntary, and it's really amazing the work that they do. It is a gift. It's an act of love, and I'm incredibly appreciative of that.
One of the good aspects is it gives students a view from an administrative point of view of some of the things that go on in those types of programs.
I think the biggest thing that we've been trying to accomplish, and I hope we will try and accomplish in the future as well, is really a collaborative culture within the Weiss Tech House. I think currently our committees do phenomenal things. Our Innovation Fund, Penvention, Event Roadmap, Weiss Labs, and more. They all do incredible things on their own, but I think we've identified many times before and right now that there's so much opportunity to do more. There are a lot of synergies we can take advantage of if people work together.
When Weiss Labs was formed, I think the very first goal, the very first thing that we wanted to do was unify Penn's entrepreneurial community. Whether we stimulated that conversation or that conversation was being stimulated at the same time, there are now efforts to really reach across campus that the separate entrepreneurial organizations are beginning to really work together.
I think that we're actually going to see in a year's time, and then after we graduate and hand it off to the next student directors, the start of a more community-based Weiss Tech House.
Well, that is one of the great parts of entrepreneurship in general is community. And I think when you have a program or a collection of programs that are all student-run, you're more likely to have a student community where they're interacting with one another regardless of the role that they have in the program or what they're trying to accomplish.
So I think it's a very supportive community, and in particular within each of the committees themselves, they form very good long-term friendships that many have taken out into the world once they've graduated.
I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I met through Weiss Labs, and I've reached out to them on several occasions about things like web developers and other things I just didn't really know about. And it's really cool because, especially since I'm not in Wharton, I don't have a lot of friends that are interested in entrepreneurship or startups in general. So it was really nice to have that network of people that was automatically interested in the same things that I was interested in.
There's really something kind of wonderful about, being in your early 20s with these people and being like, wow, we've got like a whole career ahead of us, and we know each other now.
People come to this space to hang out, to work with each other, to work on their projects. They're here till late at night.
So I think there was 2 or 3 other teams that were always in the lab with us. So you felt like it wasn't just your team, but definitely entrepreneurial students all together.
I work over at the new Convention Center, and last week, one of the other companies that just moved in and got an office next to mine is BioBots, and they ended up getting first place in convention and we got second place. And so, it's been amazing. That was 3 years ago, but I still run into these guys all over the place, and we're still, going head to head out in the real world, just like we were that first time on the convention stage.
And it's nice to have peers. It's something I really miss now, having moved out of the lab and working out the private office. Is you don't really have that many people your age who are this hungry and doing it full time that you can really relate to.
You're not going to get this really homogenous perspective while you're working there. You're going to get this really diverse set of perspectives. You're going to get this really diverse set of people, all with completely different backstories, completely different ideas. And I think that challenged me to think so much about the assumptions I was making in my own company.
Having access to just a few choice people who are like-minded and able to offer insight just from their own experiences, something I didn't really understand the value of before I was part of Weiss Labs.
They really do a good job of going beyond the professional relationship and really forming bonds with people so that you feel really comfortable being candid about what you're doing, because sometimes I feel like in the startup community it can be difficult to open up about what you're struggling with, because sometimes it seems like everybody else has everything together and you're the only one that's struggling to figure it out as a founder.
It can get lonely. And, you don't have a boss. It's very,
Only at the top?
Yeah, well, it's not, it certainly doesn't feel like the top. It's, it feels like the bottom because you're trying to create something from nothing. And it's, there's a lot of doubt and a lot of possibility to stay nothing.
There's this perpetual angst when you're running your own company. Are we going to fall apart tomorrow? Is this ever going to work? Why can't anything be as easy as I want it to be? And just having, a room of other people who are all just kind of staring in the mirror and asking themselves the exact same question, kind of helps you feel like there's some real camaraderie there.
It's really, in my opinion, fundamental to have other founders around you that keep you going.
I was sitting at graduation actually, and I had applied to Weiss Labs, and I was checking to see, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. I was checking to see if I was accepted or not, and my decision was pretty much that if I got into Weiss Labs, I would continue to work on this, and if I didn't, then I would just move on to a different opportunity.
It's hard, and I'm not sure the media makes everything seem like, oh, somebody had an idea and suddenly they've got a unicorn billion-dollar business. And I think the students really come up against the buzzsaw of reality that it's hard to start a business, it's even harder to start a successful business, but even backing off of that, creating a product and having somebody pay you for it is immensely difficult.
Last year, 2015 to 2016, 6 out of the 8 finalists of the Wharton Business Plan competition came from the Weiss Tech House. 2 out of 2 President's Innovation Prize winners, 4 out of the 8 M&T Fund recipients, and 1 out of 1 iDesign Grand Prize winner came out of the Weiss Tech House.
All of the student entrepreneurs have taken a very global approach to their problem solving. Rather than solving something that might be very intimate, like I need a new food truck, or something that might have benefit today or tomorrow, they've taken the time to look at big problems that need big solutions.
In student presentations, it's almost become an expected part of the presentation where you've got your team slide and your competition slide. You're hearing, well, here's my social good slide. Here's what I'm doing in the world. And it really is a fun thing to see. And frankly, a really important thing to see that people are thinking about, obviously, how can we build a successful business, but also what impact will that business have on the world?
The biggest number one purpose of the Weiss Tech House, as our motto or our slogan always is, we want to be that premier hub for entrepreneurship and technology on campus.
It feels like you're part of an entity with like a very vested interest in your success, even past the time that you're there.
When students graduate and they come back 3, 5, 8 years later, and I'm still here, and they come to my office and they bring their family with them, and they say to me what an experience the Weiss Tech House was to them and how it was one of the major shaping experiences they had here at the University of Pennsylvania.
When you're in college, you're kind of spend a lot of time trying to figure out who you are. Founding Weiss Labs made me certain that the thing that I want to do is to be an entrepreneur.
I think at the beginning there's a lot of grinding. There's a lot of things that seem a bit menial, like sending emails, cold calling, that sort of thing. I think it's absolutely worth sticking it out until you get to a point where you can actually drive the mission and the goals of Weiss Tech House.
Seeing the vibrant talent at Penn and being involved in that community is something that you can't really get anywhere else.
So if you join the Weiss Tech House either as a leader or with your own idea as a startup, you're really given the opportunity to run with it in all aspects.
If you have students that want to take it in this direction, they'll do it. And I think it'll be exciting to see what might happen with it, how the existing programs in Weiss Tech House might change, as well as any new programs that might come about. So it's a stay tuned and see what happens. That's the fun of being with Weiss Tech House.